Hello, everybody. It's Ken Faulkner, and I got another knife video. This one's crazy knives, kind of weird knives, bizarre knives, just odd knives. Um, I can't always have a new knife as much as I'd like to, but yeah, it's just not sustainable. Although I have had a good run here recently. Yeah, it's been a while, and I still have some that I haven't brought out to show you yet, but I'm just kind of throwing in some other stuff. One of these is actually one that's fairly new. You can guess which one it is, maybe, maybe not. I mentioned it a couple times, so you might actually know. Um, so yeah, just crazy knives. Now, some days you go to work and you come home and you're just in a bad mood. Yesterday was like that, and that's why I didn't do a video last night. I was not only extremely tired, but I was in a bad mood. So there's a mixture. Today I'm just in a bad mood, so that's okay. But I know that doing a video is going to help me. I'm already feeling better. I got these crazy knives in front of me. I don't know if you guys are going to like this one. I'm sure there's going to be some of you that do, and some of you that think, oh no, this is not my type of video. I'm not interested in this. These are, I've been collecting for a while. One of these is from my teenage years. Other ones are just collections. Some are not as weird as others. Some are well known, and some are more obscure. So let's get into it. Okay. I'm going to start over here with the donuts. Blade HQ has really, this is a Elementum. Blade HQ has been going through a series of these. I don't have the hot dog. I would have it out here if I had the hot dog, but it was just a little too weird for me. This is a normal knife, right? It's an Elementum, but it is the Desert Warrior. I mean, my understanding is that people were searching for Desert Warrior, and they would put dessert in the search thing. So they decided that that's what they're going to do. So this is a classic from Blade HQ. It's got all the colors and everything like that. This is my girlfriend's knife because she does like the donut pattern. And then came a company kind of maybe a little bit coming off of that is Crispy Donut Community. And this one is their, what is it called? I didn't look anything up or anything. It seems like it's a name of like a band or some singer or something like that. You guys probably know what it is. It really doesn't matter that much. D2 steel, basic knife, and it's a good knife shape and all that, but a good grip and everything, but it is got the donut thing, and it does have the donut bead. And I think that this one glows in the dark, actually. Maybe I can get out my old, I scored this blue light kind of thing. Oh yeah, there you go. You get some pop. Doesn't so much pop here, but that definitely is popping down on the bead. The black light for glowing stuff. It's a popular thing. This isn't gonna glow. No glow there. Anyway, so it's always good to get out whenever you got a glow type thing, and this bead is like that. This is a classic, and one from kind of the beginning of my the early days of my actual collecting, getting serious into collecting. It's the Mermaid from Boker. You remember? Maybe you guys didn't watch back then. Maybe you did. Blade HQ had a bunch of videos that they used to do, and that's kind of where I started my YouTube, knife YouTube, is watching that stuff. Zach, that ended up being Zach in the Wild. Zach Whitmore now, and he's actually working with Boker, I guess, now. So, and then Ben from what's the company that does the that little small knife. Sorry guys, I'm burnt out. Had a crazy day today. He's the guy. He's the what is up guys guy. You know what I'm talking about. This was just a Tucson, and just a weird Tucson. Not super weird, but it does have a big old humongous hole in it. And then there's some people that say you can like hold it like this or whatever, but it's got carbon fiber, titanium, all that stuff. I don't know what the steel is. Maybe it's 14C28N. Nothing too strange. Nice front flipper. The hole, you can flick it off of there, but it's sometimes get caught because it's so big. Your finger just kind of sticks into the hole. But yeah, this is the TS. If you want to know the number, it's just a little weird. The TS 3, let's say 382 to me. 362, 382. What's that? Max? Max is the designer. Anyway, this one is, I thought it was cool when I was a kid, but it's kind of wild because it's like full size spoon. You could really eat some cereal with that for sure. Great camping knife, and then a full size fork, and of course it's got a knife in there. So I mean, it does have all the utensils. Let's see, where's that big knife? It's a clip point. Not your typical eating knife, but yeah, you could definitely cut stuff with that. And it's pretty well loaded out. I mean, obviously there are some Swiss Army knives that have a lot more stuff on it, but I always loved this thing because I was a kid when I got it, and I thought it was the greatest thing. All kinds of can openers, all kinds of saws, that clip point, big old pair of scissors. It's more like a multi-tool pair of scissors here, and it even has a spring on it. Still works. You can see it's got the patina from years. That's as far as this one goes out. So it's kind of like, I don't know, digging tool or something. And then it also has the little tools on the backside. Yeah, look at that faux antler covers there, right? But man, I loved it as a kid. Corkscrew file with a sort of a screwdriver, I guess. The awl with the thing you can sew with, and then another one that's just an awl. So anyway, that's a crazy one. I just have it. I used to have like a leather case. I would put this on my belt, and it would kind of, the fork would kind of hang over it and it'd clip over it and stuff like that and hold it in place. I don't know what happened to that over the years. A couple Bally's. You may be aware of this one. I don't know. This is Spyderco, believe it or not. It's called the Bally-O, and it's got a pin. So that makes it California legal. But there it says right there, if you can see, it's Spyderco. The Bally-O. Now the pin doesn't want to stay in there, and it's not a great pin, but it works. It functions. It's not the greatest weighted thing or size-wise for flipping, but it's kind of fun to fidget with. I usually have that at work for, you know, when I need some stress relief. It's another one from work. I may have shown this one. I don't know. Look at that. It's a fork. We always had a problem with, we always thought the night people came in and cleaned up the office at night, we're taking the plastic forks because we'd run out of them all of a sudden, and then we'd have no forks. And no forks given, right? That's the Blade HQ thing. But anyway, we had no forks. And this one's got a really good ting to it. Anyway, I have this on my desk, and I will use it as a fork. It's not the greatest because it is totally flat. You can't really have it folded. This would have been better for using as a fork, but it functions in the you know, emergency situations. And then we got this guy here. I don't know if I've ever shown this. I probably have, maybe on the old channel. And you may have seen this around because this was originally a Kickstarter that I bought this on. And I thought it was really cool. And it's a necklace. And this thing, you can see it's got a stop pin that's like captured there. This thing went around a couple different companies. I've seen, I think Reich had it, or Reich, one of those two. There's two that are very close. But one of them had it, and I saw it at another table this year at Blade Show. You always see them around. I think you can actually use these little things. It's a bug. It was called the bug. Gear bug is what it was called. At least when I got it. These things can actually be used to be a cap lifter. But the way you open it up is because it's got like a magnet on it. If I can remember how or get it to go. Come on now. There we go. It's moving. So you swing it around, and watch, as you swing it around, the gear goes around, which is kind of cool. And then the knife comes out, and then the magnet re-engages to hold it closed, and you got a little dagger. They had a couple different ones, different shapes and stuff like that, different materials. I don't remember the steel or anything like that, but it was just a novelty. These are like novelty knives. I always thought that it was cool the way the gear goes around though when it opens and closes. I've worn this a couple of blade shows. I get a lot of comments about it. This guy I've had since early collecting, back before I really knew what was going on. It's called a Benji, and it's from Smith & Wesson, obviously. Back before I knew this, before I found out that Smith & Wesson was not really the best for knives. But it's got G10 here with a little bit of grip. It's got a little cap lifter here, kind of funky looking. And it's tiny, and it almost, and I don't know if it was intended to be, but it looks like a money clip. And I could see you could use it as a money clip. It's pretty strong though. You can hear it. I mean, it really clips on. I had this clipped on my backpack all the time, just, you know, in case of emergency. I never really got to the point where it's like, oh, I don't have any other knife. I better go get the Benji out and use that guy. So anyway, this is what it looks like. Look at that Tanto. Love a Tanto or a Tanto or whatever you want to call it. Hollow ground. Hollow ground. Look at that sucker. I have no idea what the steel is. Maybe it says here. Nope. Doesn't say. Have no idea. So it's the Benji. And it's just a cute little dude. I got another one like that, but I figured that this was the better one just because of the money clip thing. Because the clip's about as big as the knife itself. So that's kind of a novelty, so to speak. Another Spyderco here, and I've shown this for sure. I've shown this with Spyderco collection and stuff. This is actually designed by a relatively famous designer in Japan. So you get this thing that's like a flipper. You can't really get it all the way out, but it does help to get it part way out, and then you can roll it with your thumb. And look at that. It looks like a dog, and you break out this little guy that really serves no purpose, as far as I know, except to be a tail for the dog. It's called a Pochi. I think Pochi was a name for that they use for dogs in Japan. It's like Fido or something like that. This one's actually made in Taiwan, which is odd because and it's even got Japanese writing on here. The designer is Japanese, but they made it in Taichung, Taiwan. And it is an S45 VN, so it's no joke. It is sharp. It could definitely cut, but it is a tiny little dude. And it is a cute little dude, and that is part of my girlfriend's collection. Titanium, S45, Spyderco. It's got the hole for the eye. It's got it all. And it's got a little paw print in the clip, which is very tight and not very functional, but it's not like this guy's getting, and it's a frame lock. It's not getting carried a lot. It's just around for fun and be in the collection type thing. And in my girlfriend's collection, basically, and I get to play with it once in a while. And last but not least, this is the one that I got more recently, and it's kind of what inspired this, but I didn't think it was kind of worthy of a full video on its own. I did replace the clip. In fact, I don't think it even came with a clip, to be honest with you. I can't remember. Very rattly. Not high quality. You may have seen these. Let me get it out here. It's got a good little push off, and the soft loop works pretty well with it, so I can carry it. It doesn't fall out or anything. It's got this little divot here, and the divot goes into this little spot, but you can see, and a friend of mine at work said, "Are you carrying a wrench?" And I said, "Yeah, a wrench with a point on the end." So it does say K-Bar, and I've seen it on the K-Bar website, no longer available. New York, drop forged steel. You can't beat that, right? You know, all your knives need to be forged. I don't know what kind of steel it is. Probably on my list. I think it's like a 440 or something, or maybe it doesn't even say. But it's got some really bad grinds on it. I'm kind of using it as a practice for hand sharpening, because it is fairly easy to sharpen. So whatever steel it is, it's got kind of an edge on it. I've worked on it some. It's kind of strange because it doesn't want to start in the cut, but once you get going, maybe it's just thick behind the edge or something. once you get going, you can get a relatively, yeah, it's pretty rugged. I'm hoping I can clean it up, but I'm doubting it'll hold an edge for very long. But anyway, it's just kind of a fun little thing, and you may have seen this like pop up. I saw this originally in a video game that I play on my phone. It's actually Solitaire. I gotta play a couple different ones, but Solitaire is one of them. And this thing came up, and it kept coming up over and over again. And it caught my eye. And at one point, I was like in a weak point. I can impulse. I can impulse buy. This wasn't really an impulse because I'd seen it so many times, and I thought about it. It's cheap. I think the shipping was almost as much as the knife, but it ended up costing about 40 something for the whole thing, and it actually shipped like from Portugal or something weird like that. Bizarre as hell. I think it was originally made by Ka-Bar, but I can't be for sure. But it does look like the pictures. You got the funky sharpening on there. I mean, it's just not well done. But I figure, if I keep working on it with sharpening, I can clean up that edge, and maybe I can see, sometimes it's like a challenge on these cheap steels to see how good of an edge you can put on it. Because really, I mean, even though with the cheap steel you can put a good edge on it, it's just how long it's going to hold. And how many times am I going to really use this? This is more just novelty, like I said. Look at that. Mirror, edge, mirror. Watch out, guys. Anyway, it's funny. It almost looks like it's chromed. I don't know. It could be. Very thin. I used to work in the test department, and I'd carry wrenches around, crescent wrenches, 2 crescent wrenches around, because you always, like, you coming up, if you got we had a lot of our stuff was pressure tubing, and we'd have these fittings. And you need to hold on to the body of the fitting and turn or tighten the nut to fix leaks or break it loose or whatever. So I always have like 2 crescent wrenches, and this totally reminds me of those days. It was kind of fun to do that kind of stuff. Of course, I always had a knife and other tools, but yeah, I remember those crescent wrenches came in handy a lot. Very thin right here, not so thin behind the edge. You can see how tall that edge is, so it gets thick really fast. Anyway, it's not anything fancy or quality or anything like that. It's just kind of a fun little thing. So, I wouldn't consider it anything serious. But yeah, New York, supposedly that's where it was made, because there's a lot of stuff that used to be made out of New York years ago. But I got the feeling that maybe they discontinued it and then sold off what they had left, and some company over in Europe or something grabbed them and then is putting them up on websites, attracting attention. That hole is not big enough for any kind of spinning or anything. You can put a lanyard on there if you want, but I can get a full 4-finger grip on it. But it is so thin that you really can't hold on it too well. This grip probably feels like the best right there. But anyway, I had to admit to you guys that I bought it. One thing good that came out of it, once you buy something, it's like a fish and you're on the hook, and so now I get knives all the time. I'm not really, especially after getting this one, I'm not really tempted to buy another knife. It's all for non-knife people mostly. Every once in a while you get a good quality one, but I'm not gonna buy it off the thing. I don't even know why I bought this one. It was just a kind of a freak thing. But anyway, there'll be more good stuff coming up. I got a really good knife to show. I think the next video will be tomorrow, and I'm really liking this knife. One you may have seen, just got dropped recently, so it's fairly new. And I know it dropped, and I was excited about it, and then it sold out, and then it dropped again. And I probably bought it before I really should have, but I didn't want to miss the chance. So that's going to be a good one. If you are thinking this is just kind of a silly, dumb video, and it really is not for you, I'll be back to some actual, real, community type, collector type knives coming up pretty soon, guys. So forgive me for just indulging this one time, and I probably will do it again sometime with something else. But there you go, bunch of craziness. I probably have more even, but this is all I could think of in a short period of time. So I hope somebody got a kick out of it. I kind of got a kick out of it, but I feel a little bit better now. So thank you very much for letting me share. So you guys, I hope you guys have a much better day than I did, and I'm starting to now, so I'm glad. So enough talking, and thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.